For the first time, welcome to my channel. And if you like what I do, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. For those of you that know me, welcome again. And today is a very interesting topic that I will explore. It has again been commissioned by someone who is rather famous in the adult industry, and it was because we got talking in a little workshop about Venus and fall, and Venus, through basically how Venus curses each sign. And because Venus rules sexuality and romance and all that. So this is very important, the love sorry, and romance component. It's very important when you look at Venus in the natal chart. I don't know, voices just suddenly. Today is the day of Venus, by the way. White is the color of Venus. So it's rather hot today. I don't know why. I think that there will be some precipitation later. I do feel like it's about to rain. So it's excessively hot outside. But I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get straight to the point with this video. So the curse of Venus is, what is the expectation of modern society? That a man and a woman will get together and they'll court for a bit of a time. Uh, they may engage in copulation before, or if it's an arranged scenario, then maybe later on. So, and then they get married, then they raise children, and so on and so forth. The cycle continues. But what happens when Venus curses you? It's then that, yeah, I am. It is then that we feel like our life, our love story is not conventional. Okay, it's not conventional. It's not like, I meet someone and I go out on a date and we engage beautiful gifts and then we get married. It doesn't work like that for many of us out here, right? So for those of you that are blessed with Venus, then monogamous relationships being the hallmark of a successful marriage. uh, Thank you. Uh, yes, I had to make this video because I just got commissioned this video actually about not just 2 Fridays have passed and I've been unable to make this video, but this Friday I had to make use of the Venusian energy and I had to make this video because it's a commissioned video. You know who you are who commissioned it. Venus in fall, Venus on the second term of Virgo. I've already made a video on this. The connection of Venus, the second term of Venus, of Virgo, Venus in fall, and its connection to prostitution or sex work. So check that out. But this is a different kind of a video. It speaks of the curse of Venus. So the curse of Venus is when an individual is unable to have a successful monogamous relationship. Okay, does that mean that they are unsuccessful? Say if they are homosexual? No, they are not. But in traditional society, in traditional astrology, that would be the curse of Venus, right? Say for instance that a man falls in love with an escort he visits. Okay, so is that normal love? Is that man gonna marry her, and he will if it's pretty woman, but mostly not. Okay, so but he could love her and she could love him, but they cannot have uh, a monogamous relationship within society, because society has its own, of course, unless the man is not married and he does a pretty woman on the whole scenario. But otherwise, in most cases, that is the curse of Venus. So if you are a sex worker engaging in the act of sex with many people, how do you find love, or how do you uh, balance your love life? Now, Venus rules two signs. Okay, today is of course Friday, the day of Venus. Venus rules two signs. One is Taurus and one is Libra. All right, two signs. Now, the thing with Venus is, see, Taurus is nocturnal, Libra is diurnal, and Venus does have that kind of real intense energy in Libra, more cerebral energy. And we also have to understand the relationship of Venus with Saturn in Libra. So Venus being such good friends with Saturn, and Saturn being exalted in Libra, then you immediately understand that the correct way of using Venus is balance, equilibrium, right? So I guess society in its own way was trying to tell us that if anything goes out of balance, that's when that is the curse of Venus, right? So I was talking with some really interesting ladies, and they were really happy working in the sex industry, and they seem to think that the curse of Venus has worked for them indeed. Now that's the reason this video was commissioned, that they wanted me to look into this. But I have a very interesting story for you. Okay, what is the curse of Venus, and does it really work? Now, in ancient Greek, okay, there was a sculptor called Pygmalion, okay, and Pygmalion uh, made all these beautiful sculptures of gods and goddesses and what have you, right? Highly accomplished. So he would, of course, sculpt beautiful female forms, right? But one day, destiny had something else in store for Pygmalion, right? Pygmalion is also a theater piece that was written by Henrik Ibsen, that was later again rewritten in a way, adapted by George Bernard Shaw. And it's a very interesting story. It's a story of a man falling in love with his own creation, with his own sculptor. And this has a very interesting anecdote leading up to why Pygmalion gave up his love for mortal women. And it is this is the curse of Venus, right? Now, he went to the bathhouse and he saw these prostitutes, and they were all in line, and they were like really cross, and they were, really unrefined, okay, and their skin was harsh, okay, and there was a crudeness about them that sort of attacked his artistic sensibilities. And the feminine form, he became disgusted with it, right? Because Pygmalion could no longer use the feminine form as his muse, because of what he had witnessed in this unrefined, coarse, crude behavior of these street prostitutes. And he was like, I'm not attracted to mortal women anymore. Okay. So, in this quest of finding perfection, Pygmalion set out to craft his masterpiece, sculpt something so perfect that he would fall in love with it immediately, because it would be so refined. There would be no coarseness inside. It would be sophistication, so that he expects, right? So the story, we were talking about the story in the workshop. So the prostitutes held up a mirror to Pygmalion, and the mirror was that there is a life outside your comfort zone. There are people outside your comfort zone. Now, is this true then that, Venus is, and he believed that these women were cursed by Venus, right? Because they're so crude, they're so cross. Does this mean that since Venus falls in Virgo, could it be that, uh, Venus in Taurus, Venus in Libra, there are no women who have abnormal sex lives? Now, it doesn't have to be prostitution to be cursed by Venus. It can be even an unfaithful spouse, an unfaithful husband, of course. It could be that, I saw this meme in Facebook, and it said that shout out to all the women who were never chosen in the long run. Like men would be interested in them, and it works for men too, believe me. Men get afflicted by Venus as well. That's when they get in this vicious cycles of uh, attracting the dark Venus. Okay, now we know that Venus in Scorpio is a iffy placement. Why? Venus rules Taurus, opposite Venus is in detriment, right? So Venus in fall in Scorpio is quite a problematic placement, especially with possessiveness, jealousy. So I'm going to discuss that, break that up, and discuss how each sign gets affected. Now, what I was saying, that doesn't mean that Venus in Taurus, Venus in Libra get away with the curse. Do they all have perfect lives? Do they all have perfect love lives? No. Now, of course, when we say Venus, for instance, we say Venus in Virgo, we also have to see where Mercury is placed. Say Mercury is placed in Taurus, then there's this trine happening between these two planetary bodies, as well as a nice exchange of energy, right? Because they're in friendly signs and earth signs, okay? So, yes, unrequited love is definitely a curse of Venus. Definitely. So when we get talking about Venus in Taurus, Venus in Libra, they also have aberrations. They also have problems in their relationships. So the curse of Venus affects us all. So before we delve into it, we must remember that the planets friendly to Venus in Vedic astrology are Saturn and Mercury. What does Saturn rule? Saturn rules two signs, Capricorn and Aquarius. So there's this special relationship that Venus has in these signs. Okay, although Venus in Aquarius is not an easy placement, to put it mildly, but there is a fluidity of energy because these planetary bodies are friends. Okay, so Mercury rules two signs again, yet we see Venus falling in Virgo, although she's friends with Mercury. So these are nuances. Now, Mercury is the logical thinking mind, and Venus is the five senses and pleasure. Okay, on the most peripheral surface level, right? That's what we are taught. Venus is much more than that, but that's what we are taught, right? Now, the two enemies of Venus in Vedic astrology are Sun and the Moon. Sun, Leo, Moon, Cancer. Yet, the Moon is exalted in a sign of Venus. So there are interesting nuances to all of this. That, you can journal on this, you can write about this. These are archetypes that reveal themselves to you according to your understanding, your appreciation of the starry tales, the saga of the stars. So why is Venus friendly to Mercury? Then why does Venus fall in Virgo? Does it make sense? The enemy of Venus is Sun and Moon, right? Yet we know that Venus is cold and moist like the Moon, right? So there's this, and they're the two feminine archetype. So we see that there's an interplay there definitely with Moon being exalted in the place of Venus, Taurus, right? So there are finer nuances to this. Venus in Leo. Now, of course, the Sun is the enemy of Venus. Yet, I believe that there's a beauty to Venus in Leo. And their expectations are always grand, especially if it's conjunct nakshatra, Magha, or Regulus. Okay, that's another thing. So when we talk about unrequited love, we talk about divorce, we talk about breakups, or cheating, philandering husbands and wives, all of that could be the curse of Venus, right? Could be, but of course you have to see other things as well. But there is definitely a component of Venus. Venus is Shukra, right? And Venus is Beej's Om Drang Ring Drong Sa Shukraya Namaha. Okay, uh, Venus. When we think of how we enjoy the world, we think of Taurus, right? And Taurus is all the forms. Taurus impregnates the solar system with forms. Okay, that's why Taurus is so closely associated to beauty. For instance, you give Venus in Taurus, falls in love with a poor man, and there could be like a lot of love in the relationship. There could be mutual understanding and whatever. But a Venus in Taurus will require a certain lifestyle for her to feel comfortable in the relationship. Otherwise, it's a no-show for Venus and Taurus. Okay, so each sign has its own understanding of how love is supposed to play out in 3D. So Venus in Aries we know is problematic. Okay, it's one of the most difficult placements for Venus. Why? Because the polarity of Aries is Libra. Okay, and that is ruled by Venus, and this is a sign of Mars, right? So here Venus in Aries, excessively dry, the curse of Venus. So it could be that the relationship becomes excessively dry, relationship is violent, because it's after all Mars ruled, and Mars activates by separation. So Venus in Aries, the curse of Venus in Aries is sort of a separation feeling. Even if you're not literally separated from your spouse, there's this nagging feeling that, you know, I feel like there's a distance, there's a separation somewhere. There's anxiety with this Venus in Aries, a lot of anxiety. Aries can be very, very anxious as well. Now, Venus in Taurus, like I said, what could be the curse of Venus in Taurus, right? Can anybody guess? So we know that this is a rulership position for Venus, okay? It's a strong position for Venus. Yet oftentimes I've seen that Venus and Taurus women become the wife, and the husband oftentimes have the other. Why is that? Is it because Taurus is this tremendous predisposition towards domestic work and being engaged with the domestic scene? Too much of domesticity, and maybe the spouse is an Aquarian, a double Aquarian, or if not a triple Aquarian. They want to have something completely different. So how do you sort of pace that? How is Venus and Taurus supposed to feel if, they, in many cases I've seen that Venus and Taurus women are also taken as trophy wives. Venus and Leo, yes, that's always, the show off situation. Like, okay, this is my wife, this is who she is, and she's all dolled up and she's all beautiful. I've seen many Venus and Leo women play that archetype. As well as Venus in Taurus, I think there is a trophy wife energy to this. Like, oh, my husband's married me because of some things that I bring to the table. Now, every relationship is obviously based on give and take, and somebody brings something to the table. But at the end of the day, it's not only about that. Yes, it's about that, but it's not about that. Life is not always black or white. It's these beautiful shades of gray, and in these shades of gray you see flickers of different colors of light. I mean, that's how I express it. You have all this black, you have white, and then you have all these shades of gray. But if you really look into the gray, you can see a galaxy inside of it, nebulas inside of it. Why? Because essentially the sky is almost like a bluish gray. So it's again, now, so Venus in Taurus, if you are feeling caught in the domestic situation and all you're expected to do is, keep a perfect house, feed your husband, and you feel trapped inside the situation, right? And then what is what is the answer to this? The answer to this is developing your own self-respect, as well as your own resources. Venus in Taurus, without your own resources, you tend to be taken for granted. My experience of, over 2 decades of studying natal charts in different systems. Now, Venus in Gemini. The curse of Venus in Gemini is being distracted. Even if the perfect person is sitting on them, they in front of them, not on them, in front of them, and they are on Tinder looking for the next best thing. So, it could be a woman who's, maybe really be in love with a man, but there's some part of her that's always looking to see, could there be some fun somewhere else? Why is that? Because Gemini is always hungry for communication. And we see that this Venus in Gemini's husband is sort of all bottled up and there's no communication. That's when the Venus in Gemini is definitely feeling, I'm out of here. I don't want this. Okay? So that. Now, Venus in Cancer. Remember, Venus and Moon are not traditionally friends. Okay? However, the Moon is exalted in a sign ruled by Venus, Taurus. Okay? So now Venus in Cancer, I think, is smothering because we know Cancer to be the great mother. But Venus in Cancer could be a sort of a smothering energy. When you are so bothered about the other person that they feel like, oh my god, claustrophobic, like you're always on them, you're calling them 100 times in a day and they are at work and you're still calling them, and have you eaten your food, have you done this, have you done that? Although I think it's very beautiful to ask someone that, have you had your food, how was your day? I love all these things. But with the Cancer native, oftentimes oftentimes communication, Luca, you love that communication. So that Venus in Cancer, I think the greatest curse of Venus in Cancer is becoming the mother of her mate, not the wife, not the lover. And being a mother is fine because wives tend to play many roles in the husband's life, but then constantly being the mother, constantly trying to control a situation, constantly trying to use the emotional stimulus to feel, to express emotions, that could be the curse of Venus in Cancer. When you do things, but you expect people to notice and they don't, and then you get upset. We see a bit of that in Virgo as well. But with Virgo, I believe that there's a lot of harshness to how the Virgo will express it. But for a Venus in Cancer, it will be more passive aggressive. Right? More passive aggressive, like, I can't deal with it. I do so much for the house, I do so much for the kids. And then again, Venus in Taurus, like I said, paying so much attention to the domestic details that you forget your relationship, that you forget why you are even here. Okay, now we are here for the kids. And this motif is also there with Venus in Cancer. This is a curse of Venus in Cancer. When you become the mother in a relationship, and you're constantly picking up after someone, constantly cleaning up after someone, feeding them their favorite food, doing their laundry, washing their dishes. It's all good. Everybody needs to, share the workload, but it should not only be you. All right. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Now, and today is your day, Venus day today. So that was a Venus in Cancer, okay. And then again, of course, checking messages. Scorpio takes it to another level, but Cancer can be very, very manipulative at times. In sidereal Cancer, we see Ashlesha. Ashlesha, one of the nakshatras of sidereal Cancer, and we're just talking about Ashlesha the other day, and it's how the serpent will you know uh, encircle your whole body and then squeeze you to death. So that hug, that squeeze of the serpent is Ashlesha. Sometimes we see Venus playing that out through Venus in Cancer. All right. Now, with regards to Venus in Leo, what is the curse of Venus in Leo? The curse of Venus in Leo is not being appreciated enough or not being noticed enough. So, we know Leos love to be dramatic. They love to be the center of attention. So, Venus, who seeks pleasures of all kinds in Leo, obviously wants to be the center of attention. So, if in any way the Venus in Leo woman is not the center of a man's world, it's not gonna last. It is not a match made in heaven, but it will become a match made in hell, because the Venus in Leo native desires not only appreciation, like quiet appreciation, like Venus in Cancer or Venus in Virgo, but they, thank you, yeah, 10 people. Like for the content I give out, 10 people are interested. So that's like really wild, right? But yeah. So the thing with Venus in Leo is that if you have a Venus in Leo person, you better learn how to make them the center of attention. Because if you can't, and if you are, Venus in Leo has narcissistic tendencies. Now, is narcissism only a purely negative term? I don't think so. I think we all are a bit of I think there is quite a bit of narcissism now with social media and the selfies and all that. Somebody made a comment on my video that how narcissistic. I do have Venus in Leo and Magha Nakshatra conjunct Regulus, so it's like, okay, I don't think of myself as a narcissist, but there is a component, an exhibitionistic component about Venus in Leo. That look at me, I'm this, look at my talents, look at my clothing, look at my this, look at my that. And oftentimes it's not that, I'm always looking to get attention. Oh my God, I'm looking to get attention. No. But if it comes, I'll possibly be like, oh my God, I don't want that attention. But if it doesn't come, the Venus in Leo is like, oh my God, I went out there and nobody noticed me, or I was on my video and everybody was just cursing me and everybody was saying that it was just shit content, it's absolutely crap, you look like hell. And that would make a Venus and Leo really hurt. It would really affect them because they want adulation. They want to be not only noticed in the most simple way that Virgo likes it, but they want proclamations, proclamations. Exactly, if they just listen, right? Exactly. But it's not easy, okay, to listen. I always try to cut down my videos and make them shorter, but then lives always tend to get so long, just talking and exploring ideas. I think that's how astrology is best discussed, because you just bifurcate into so many ideas and different thoughts, and and you get derailed sometimes from the main topic at hand, but then you discover so much, right? So yeah, the curse of Venus in Leo is being unappreciated, being nobody's saying anything. Nobody's saying I love you. Nobody's saying that, oh, you're my life, or I love you the most in the world. That's what Venus and Leo wants to hear, right? Uh, yeah, but without social media, I would not even be able to get my business out to my clients. So I am exceptionally grateful for social media. It gets me my clients, it gives me my livelihood. So I cannot say anything about social media. I have set up my business 100% organically without a buck of, without spending a buck on boosting any video. and I do get enough clients. So yeah, without social media, I would never be able to do the work that I do. So I'm eternally grateful for social media. Now, the thing with Venus in Leo we discussed. Now let's get to Venus in Virgo. So Venus in Virgo is fall position. So it's supposed to be the most complicated Venus. Uh, Complicated Venuses often show up as, someone not taking care of themselves. Venus in Virgo is known to do that. And sometimes that taking care of oneself becomes so excessive that there's an OCD component to it. So with Virgo, when a Virgo is extremely externalized, right? All the energy is just going out. Then there's always this need, right? That what Virgo hankers for is perfection. Nothing is really perfect, and the Virgo pretty much cannot understand that. They want perfection. So, in a relationship, oftentimes Virgo morphs actually into the other person because they try to. I won't say Virgos don't have a personality or anything like that. I'm a Virgo ascendant, but there's something about the Virgo energy that becomes almost like a chameleon with the other person. So, if Virgos with an Aquarius, then the Virgos vibing differently. The Virgos with a Leo, the Virgos vibing differently. Of course, the fixed signs are more stubborn and more, uh, grounded in the way they approach things. Whereas the mutables like Virgos, they're very adaptable, flexible. So I think that chameleon component comes from there because they start mimicking, they start mirroring the Virgo individual. So having said that, the Venus in Virgo curse is again doing too much for other people and not receiving adequate love or attention, and then festering and then being bitter about it, till one day you just throw all of this out, and you just go out and you get into a stage of being licentious. I've seen a lot of Venus in Virgo go through these stages when they've been so devoted to one person, extremely devoted, right? And they continue giving, caring, all right? Yes. So caring, and stuff like that, right? And then one day there is no reciprocation, right? Not one day, I mean, the Venus in Virgo always gives it a time frame. So they're noticing that there's no reciprocation, but they keep giving, hoping things will change, but it doesn't. So that's when the Venus in Virgo possibly will, walk out of the relationship, find somebody else, and just get into a state of, as I said, licentiousness. Virgos are very conscientious. So, I don't see Virgos really philandering around unless they, of course, have a different understanding of morality, right? A lot of unconventional relationships, I think, are of people who have Venus in Virgo and Venus in Aquarius. Something about, and Virgo and Aquarius are quincunx. So there's this really weird energy with Virgo and Aquarius. Um, that's an interesting story with Virgo and Aquarius. It's said that there is a demon called Ornius who resides in Aquarius, okay? Ornius is known to suck the thumbs of Aquarian natives, and Ornius makes Aquarian men obsessed with Virgo women. All right, remember these two signs are quincunx, 5 signs apart, quincunx. Okay, so there's a complicated. It's about Venus and how the curse of Venus affects each sign. What is the curse of Venus? A relationship that is not in equilibrium. So when we speak of Venusian balance, or when we speak of Venusian, um, the epitome of Venus, I think it is equilibrium that we seek, not one extreme or the other. Okay, although Venus is known to vacillate between extremes. Okay, because Venus always is looking to find the most pleasurable option around. So as I was speaking about Orneus, Orneus sucks the thumbs of Aquarian males. He makes them obsessed with Virgo women. Now Solomon actually got Orneus because I think Asmodeus, uh, 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 I think Asmodeus got uh, brought Orneus to Solomon, and Solomon finally tricked him. And there was a last bit of work that had to be done, and something I'm forgetting right now. Something had to be put on top of the temple. So Solomon asked Asmodeus, to do it, and Asmodeus said, "I can't do it. It's too high up. You need a demon who could fly." Now I'm not sure if this is Orneus, but Orneus is a very interesting story. Ultimately, Solomon gets him, and uh, keeps him in that gin ring. But Orneus and his obsession with Virgo women. This is very interesting to me because I've had a lot of, and I'm Virgo ascendant. I've had a lot of Aquarius people, just generally all my life, interested in me. So, my partner has a stellium in Aquarius, like I have a stellium in Virgo. So there's this real crazy connection with Virgo and Aquarius that I actually will explore in another video. This doesn't do justice to the topic of Orneus and his obsession with Virgo women. So again, perfection. Venus is in a way perfection, but Venus is in fall in Virgo. How does that make sense? Venus is Aphrodite, she is perfection personified. So how is she going to be in fall in a sign that seeks constant perfection? It does not make sense, right? If you just look at the archetypes and you place them around and you jiggle them around in your head, it does not make sense, because Venus should be excessively happy in Virgo, because saying Venus is the very epitome of perfection and Virgo seeks to get perfection. Maybe it is the ancients' way of telling us that there is really no one true perfection or one true beauty or one true truth in this world. It's all an interplay of senses, and that is Venus. And sometimes that's ugly, and sometimes that's beautiful, and sometimes that's life changing, and sometimes it's brief for a quick second, one video call, a few months. Sometimes it's for a long time frame when you are actually each other's beloved. Sometimes it's a dream. So and that's Venus in Pisces, that exalted 27 degrees Venus in Pisces. I'll get to that. So the curse of Venus in Virgo, I think, is seeking perfection and giving so much that in the end they don't receive enough. Right? Now Venus in Libra. The curse of Venus in Libra would be too much retail therapy. But when it comes to love and relationships, I think that Venus and Libra, although they're very cerebral, very, articulate, very artistic, and, you know, great with the way they present themselves, Venus and Libra. But again, on that point of presentation, a lot of Venus and Libra is about presentation. It's how I present myself. So I spend all my time in trying to create a persona that basically is my way of impressing no, Venus in Capricorn is later on. You know, the person I create is my way of impressing somebody else, and it's not really me, is it? This person now. So that is the curse of Venus in Libra, creating such the need for creating an appearance that oftentimes is not true. So the truth, oftentimes, Venus in Libra, thank you. So oftentimes Venus in Libra is unable to just be themselves. For they think that, without their Prada belt, their Gucci shoes, their Louis Vuitton shoes, or Jimmy Choo shoes, they're not anything. They need that. They need those external things to build up confidence, to create that persona. And oftentimes it becomes toxic when they have to go all out to create a personality, spend a ton of money. Venus in Libra loves looking good. So a lot of times we see that they spend a lot of money on just trying to look good. And this takes a toll on them. For you can't, perpetually keep getting a Botox procedure. It's toxic. You can't keep enhancing or working on your bust line. It's toxic. Right? So I think that the thing with Venus and Libra is they're very lucky. There's a very lucky component to Venus and Libra. But they oftentimes think that that luck is because of something external. Something like the house, their car, or their social status, the way they look. They can't believe that it's because of them. It's because of the joyousness that they have inside with Venus in Libra. It's a very joyous placement. Alright? So to be able to draw, to be able to paint, to be able to cook, Venus in Taurus will give you a very hard competition for that. But Venus in Cancer also good cook, but more motherly cook. But whereas that Venus in Libra is that avant-garde cook, it's somebody who impresses you with not only their cooking, but their exemplary conversation and their, just a beauty around them. The Venus in Libra seeks beauty around them, and oftentimes this becomes a hindrance when you literally can't look at things that are ugly. I want to look at things that are ugly. I want to look at things that are beautiful. For this world, it's a dual world. It's a world of dualities. Oftentimes, Venus in Libra wants only pretty little things. Not little. Right? Now we see Venus in Scorpio, Venus in detriment. And especially, Venus in Libra to Venus in Scorpio, if you're talking about that 15 degrees of Libra to 15 degrees of Scorpio, you're talking about 30 degrees called Via Combusta, the path of combustion. So any planets, especially Venus, in these degrees is burnt out via Combusta. Right? So it ends at about 15 degrees of Scorpio, which is almost half of the second decan of Scorpio, right? And the second decan belongs to Jupiter. It's Pisces triplicity. Okay? And there's something very interesting again with the second decan. We have something called Serpentes, the 19th degree, or the accursed degree. Okay? Which is supposed to be a degree which brings about a lot of, complications with love, marriage, and what have you. I think yes, it does, not because it's accursed, but because it's a Kundalini awakening zone. Here the Swadhisthana chakra is most active, 19 degrees. I've spoken to you about avatar degrees. Avatar degrees are about 14 to 18 degrees of a planet, specifically 15 degrees of a planet. If you have a planet at 15 degrees of a sign, which is the second decan of a sign, then it is an avatar degree planet. That means it is, in the just in the right place. Because anything from 0 to 5 degrees is an infant planet. Okay, so say you have retrograde Saturn in the first house, that's at 2 degrees. Dangerous. Um, Infant planets, senior planets, planets over 27 degrees, 28 degrees, 29 degrees can't protect, can't provide the space for growth. All right. So there's this thing about infant planets. There's this thing about elderly planets. And 15 degrees is the avatar degree. So at 15 degrees, you're just right. You've heard of the sweet spot, right? In sound, the sweet spot. So 15 degrees is the sweet spot. And of course, then in Venus in Scorpio, Venus again in a Mars ruled sign. But this time Mars is expressing, the energy of Venus is being expressed through a feminine nocturnal sign. When I think of Venus in Scorpio, I think of ice queens. All right, ice queens, very icy, very cool. The the heroine of a noir film, Ava Green. Yeah, could be a Venus in Scorpio, definitely. But something like that, the femme fatale, the woman who is so sensual and so, uh, you know, a well balanced Venus in Scorpio. Uh, thank you. Thank you. So the thing is that Venus in Scorpio has a lot of feelings. But when you realize that the moon is in fallen Scorpio, then you think that Venus here tries to subdue emotions. It's always about I'm sorry, your comment went away before I could answer. Hi, I'm from a Leo Sun, Moon, Mars, and a Capricorn rising. It's a Cancer in my Venus. Okay, yeah, Venus in Cancer is not necessarily confusing though. It's just very oriented to family. Thank you. Very oriented to family. And oftentimes that could, that has its own ups and downs. So you want to create a family, you want to, whether it's somebody you marry or somebody you live with, you have this need for someone. And while on that the topic of the need for someone, we see this need for someone in Venus in Taurus, as well as Venus in Libra, a very profound need for the other. With Libra, it's always me. With Aries, it's me. With Libra, it's us. So when we see Venus through Aries, we see a selfish Venus. But when we see Venus through Libra, we see a Venus that's more dependent on the other. Sometimes, yes, this can be toxic, of course, but I think there's a beauty to Venus in Libra. There's definitely a very beautiful side to Venus in Libra. I mean, I have clients who have all these placements, and I can tell you one thing, that each Venus placement has its own beautiful soft spot. Whether you talk about a Venus in Virgo, I'm a Venus in Virgo, right? I'm a Venus in the decan of Saturn in Virgo, in the second decan of Virgo. So I have that Saturnine vibe, as well as there's something very beautiful about Venus in Libra. Very artistic people. However, we were talking about Venus in Scorpio. So I've seen that since Scorpio rules the sexual organs, and Venus there's always complications with the sexual organs and the way the sexual organs are perceived in some cases also. Like, we've heard of people using plastic surgery to change their genitalia, change the look of their genitalia. Women are literally replacing the hymen to appear virgins. Men are literally undergoing operations to have a bigger one down there, right? And we of course know about the sex change operations. So there's something about Venus in Scorpio. Now another thing with Venus is whichever sign it sits in, it relaxes the body part ruled by that sign. So when we had Venus in Gemini, and I made that Venus retrograded last time in Gemini, and I made that video on how Venus in Gemini is actually going to release the lungs. I mean, loosen the relax the lungs. And Venus is also about to go into Gemini, so that'll be another thing. However, I was just unable to sit down and create the Kritika Nakshatra lunation. Yes, absolutely. They have a way with words, but that's also possibly a Venus in Virgo because of that Mercury. So they have that thing that. And for me, I have that Venus in Virgo, and I've got that Mercury in the 12,000 Leo conjunct that Saturn conjunct Regulus. So it's a story of that Venus ultimately feeding off of that Mercury. That Mercury, of course, sitting at the very end of Leo, and conjunct that Saturn at about 2 degrees, 4 degrees off. The Mercury is at about 24 or something, and the Saturn is at about 29. So yeah. So there's always this component of the way the component, my expression. It's always feeding off of that Saturnine vibration. So that Venus in Scorpio, where you have to see where that Mars is placed. You have to see, which house that Mars is in, what planets that Mars is conjuncting, aspecting, what nakshatra or fixed star that Mars is feeding off. So you see that Venus, I have that Venus in Virgo, like I said, and it is true that I never used to do makeup before, or I never used to, really glam up before. And then there came a time when I loved doing it. And it's some I love putting on makeup, even though I have that Venus in Virgo, which is a fall position. I think of makeup as a way to express my, it's like almost a canvas, the face. So I love that. Although I have that Venus in fall, and a lot of Venus in Virgo women do not like makeup. No, we don't like makeup. But that Venus is in Mercury's place. And where's that Mercury? That Mercury is conjunct Regulus in Leo. So yeah, I have this inherent need to want to glam up. But it's not about needing, you see. It's that I like it. It's me telling you don't really need to write. The way you talk is nice enough. You don't need to write it down. But to me, makeup is a way I express myself. So that is the thing. It's very important to me, but I don't get any time for it now, and I miss it. I miss just being able to do it and come on a video. But for now, doing makeup means I lose 45 minutes of my time here. And I mostly have about an hour or hour and a half, 2 hours. So I cannot give that time right now. So I'm like, okay, I can't. But I really enjoy it. And me being a Venus in Virgo, I'm not supposed to really enjoy it. That's the domain of Venus in Taurus or Venus in Leo. If you have Venus in Cancer, what kind of makeup would you do? Oh, you just, you're that hot MILF. So you dress up like that hot MILF. You got that mother, you got that t-shirt, you got that tight jeans. So that's actually quite an interesting topic. Venus through the signs and how we do makeup and how we dress. I think that's pretty interesting because there's just so many possibilities with this. Uh, yeah, so Venus in Cancer, you're not like a Venus in Leo, where you're like all glammed up and like, oh my god, look at me, I'm the queen. But you're a hot mom, right? Venus in Cancer, right? Oh yeah, I love that. That sexy librarian look. Um, could be a Venus in Libra. Venus in Virgo could do that sexy librarian look actually. The hot secretary look. Venus in Virgo again, I would say. Yeah, exactly. See, Venus in Cancer. Your breasts are extremely sensual, right? Extremely, a very important erogenous zone for you. So, having said that, let's get to the yes, Bala. Let's get to Venus in Sagittarius. So much more I can discuss about Venus in Scorpio, but now I'm already running at about an hour almost. 6 more minutes and I'm there, so I've got to hurry it up a bit. Now, Venus in Sagittarius. Because the Venus in Sagittarius is the necessity of too much adventure and the inability to settle down. Literally, even if you settle down, it's not going to be forever with Venus in Sagittarius. Because you see the archer, right? The archer is always targeting the next course of movement. So I have to move, I have to move, I have to go, I have to do that, I have to do this. Uh, Venus in a Jupiterian sign. Remember, Venus and Jupiter have a close relationship because Venus exalts in Pisces, and Pisces is the domain of Jupiter. And Jupiter is about to enter tropical Pisces. I'm happy just thinking about it. It is my seventh house of marriage, partnerships, and about to launch my clothing line very soon with my partner Farzana, and that's gonna be crazy. I'm doing a lot of work behind the scenes. I'll announce it soon, but let me not waste your time right now with that and get to Venus in Sagittarius movement. Venus in Sagittarius being too much movement, okay? Whether you are literally moving from one place to another and traveling, because we know that Sagittarius is a sign of travel, right? So we see that it could be this need to just get up and travel. But it could also be that the mind is forever traveling. So grounding that Venus in Sagittarius becomes a problem. And it's definitely a Venus that is very idealistic. Of course, a great conversationalist. And this Venus possibly has a very good sense of humor. For we know Sagittarians to be but then again, that becomes their curse. Because, either they have a jealous husband who's not happy with the way they make other men laugh. Because, it's always like that. I've noticed that Venus and Sagittarius always tend to get these kind of like guys who are repressed in some way. In many cases, and not all cases, but many cases, like a sort of a repressed personality. Uh, they just cannot understand the flamboyance of a Venus in Sagittarius. So it's again pretty lonely if you're Venus in Sagittarius because oftentimes your intelligence, your humor is lost on people. So that is definitely something that the curse of Venus in Sagittarius, and also the curse of Venus in Sagittarius is definitely uh, too much, too much. Jupiter expands. So I've seen another something very interesting, that Venus and Sagittarius, they are not really good with domestic chores. Okay, they're not really good with domestic chores, or like a really good planned out domestic life. Oftentimes, more often than not, they are in professions where they can you know just be with like-minded people, because being with people is an important experience for Sagittarius. Being social, it's important to Sagittarius. Now, if they actually manage to find someone they can laugh with, they can discuss philosophy with. It's not always that, oh, have you read Kant? I've read Kant, or there's all philosophy books when we talk about Heidegger or Kant, or Francis Bacon. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about philosophy, life's philosophy. you know so that is something to think about. um, Now, with Venus in Capricorn, we've got to get to Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn, again, there is a seriousness to Venus in Capricorn because of Saturn, a coldness, a sense of detachment. We see that, let's discuss Venus in Aquarius and Venus in Capricorn together, because they're both Venus in Saturn sign. But of course, the possibilities are numerous, because where is Saturn placed? Right? Say I have Venus in Aquarius and my Saturn is placed in Leo. So my Venus is opposite my Saturn, and my Venus is ruled by Saturn, that's ruled by the Sun. And say my Sun is a benefic and my Sun is in a powerful place. So that means I'm different to somebody who has I'll read your comments later, because again I'll forget what I'm saying, and then so the thing with this Venus in Capricorn is that and Aquarius is, both of these Venuses can be very dry, detached, cold. um, However, Venus in Aquarius is actually more harmonious with large groups of people, and just more comfortable when meeting strangers. Venus in Capricorn, not really comfortable when they're meeting strangers. They have this boundary about them. Hi, Red, how are you? They have this boundary about them. Okay, a boundary that they put up. Now we know Saturn is boundary, the rings of Saturn, right? That's the first stage of karma that was created. Actually, tomorrow I do want to come here and make a small video on Saturn. A lot of things to discuss about Saturn. Uh, I have missed you, Red. We need to talk soon. But yeah, let's get back to Venus in Capricorn. So the curse of Venus in Capricorn is, again, expecting things to be, there is a seriousness to Venus in Capricorn, okay? Not that they can't have fun. They can have fun, they can celebrate, they can let loose. But that Venus in Capricorn wants a commitment. And oftentimes, this necessity to be committed makes them settle earlier than they should. It's my own experience. Okay, Venus and Capricorn. Something about them that, and more so than Venus in Aquarius, Venus and Capricorn women tend to get married quicker. Now, if Venus and Capricorn has those rings and the boundary that holds them together, Venus in Aquarius is what is beyond the ring, what is beyond the horizon, dark, deep space. So Venus in Aquarius is more cerebral, whereas Venus in Capricorn is just more, you know, material. So material relationships, relationships that have the material component in check works better for Venus and Capricorn. They need certain things. They like Venus and Taurus. They have a lifestyle. They want these things. They want these things. So Venus in Aquarius is more the curse of Venus in Aquarius. I think is friendship, that you become such a good friend of the person that you get friend zoned. Not always with everybody, but Venus and Aquarius women oftentimes tell me, and this is not one Venus and Aquarius, but multiple, 2 decades of reading charts. Oftentimes they tell me is that they get friend zoned because they are so open. Aquarius is after all the sign of friendship and larger communities. So these Venus in Aquarius women tend to be extremely mm, you know, forward with the way they bond with someone. And whether it's a sexual relationship, whether they're living together with that person, yes, they're just really, they don't have these boundaries like, oh, I'm living with you, I expect you to propose to me. Not necessarily. That's not what the Venus in Aquarius is thinking. The Venus in Capricorn is thinking that okay, when am I gonna get a ring? When am I gonna get a proposal? Even if the Venus in Capricorn has a high-ranking job or is in an important place in the professional life, they need their family life to look good. Whereas the Venus in Aquarius is moved by no such compulsion. Okay, I have no compulsion like that. Venus and Aquarius, they are more and they are more outgoing, like more. I'll see where this experience takes me. Now we see this Venus being echoed with Venus in Sagittarius. That okay, let's see where this experience takes me. Now this is also in a bit reflected in Gemini. Let's see where this experience takes me. But Gemini is more, I think, slightly different from of course it's not Jupiter, Mercury and Jupiter, the two planetary bodies that are always in polarity. See whether you talk about Virgo, Pisces, or Gemini and Sagittarius, you see these two planetary bodies are always holding opposite signs, right? Thank you. So these are opposite signs, right? And I love doing your reports, Red. All the multiple reports I did for you. I love doing them. And Red, thank you so much for helping me. You have been so instrumental in my inspiration to keep up all this work. You know how hard it is for me at the moment. But I have kept up. So the thing with Venus and Aquarius is that they don't expect the conventional, oh, come, give me a ring and let's get married, right? Venus in Aquarius is expecting no such thing. Venus in Aquarius may really like it if you say, hey, let's go to Burning Man and let's see how things develop. Now, again, this let's see where the adventure takes me is also Venus in Aries. They're very adventurous. Okay, very adventurous. Like, let's see what the next adventure is. But Venus in Aries is a streak selfish. Venus in Sagittarius is also a streak selfish. But again, Jupiter here operates differently to Mars. Okay, yet oftentimes when we think of planets, sadly we think of lower vibrations of the planets. So when I talk about Mars to you, I talk about violence, anger, mostly, most astrologers, thank you, most astrologers, I've already done Venus and Gemini in the beginning. So most astrologers, we tend to simplify the archetypes and just tend to talk about the problems of Mars and its lower vibration. But what we don't talk about is that, without Mars, there would be no aspiration to become a bodhisattva, to become a realized, ascended human being. It is the force of Mars that, if applied correctly, makes us a sage. The Martian soldier must conquer the dragon of his own personality. So there are higher and lower vibrations of each planets that we oftentimes in pop astrology we tend to forget. We tend to think of Venus only as five senses or a law of relationship, and we forget that it is Venus and the planetary ray, the fifth planetary ray that she brings, and even the planetary joy in the fifth house again is very interesting. It's creativity. Venus is creativity, and through creating different things in this world we enjoy them. Understand, if we create things, whether it is in our mindscape, in our mind palace, or whether we literally create something. For instance, a simple example is I've created this dress. This is a part of our collection that we are going to launch, which will be called UG Couture, Urban Glam Couture. So I create this and I wear it because I love it, right? I write about astrology because I love it. I make these videos because there is not a thing that I would rather do on in the world, on earth, than talk about astrology. Simple. That 16 people are watching right now, but if only one person watched, I would still make this video. If nobody watched, I would still make this video. So you see, it's literally that. There is nothing that I can do that fulfills me, that satisfies me, that teaches me, that humbles me, like when I talk about the stars. So there's nothing that I would do on this planet right now. So I am here to do this. So that's what Venus teaches us. Through the fifth planetary ray, Venus teaches us to create and then enjoy. I create these relationships with you, with Red, with Luca, all these friends of mine that I look forward to meeting on YouTube. When I come and I'm always like, oh my God, will I meet my friends on YouTube? So I've created all of these relationships. We have both of us, all of us have created this relationship so we can enjoy it. So like, okay, Tina's gonna come on YouTube and talk about astrology. I love astrology. So you see how we enjoy what we create. So oftentimes the archetypes are sadly not done justice, and we just talk about the lower vibrations of the archetypes. Like, okay, Mars is sex, libido, our action principle, Mercury is communication, Venus is dating, the Sun is leadership. I mean, it's all okay to simplify something, but for some people, the simplified product just does not work. For me, simplified astrology just did not work after a certain time. You know what I mean? So I had to get into it. I had to then really, I spend all my time either working with clients or writing about astrology or doing housework now as I do and taking care of an elderly. But usually most of my work is geared towards the stars and the planets and deities. So yeah, yes, true, absolutely. So we have to create and then we have to enjoy. It's actually Saturn being the limitation. Saturn teaches us, destroys us, gives us pain, gives us suffering. But once we conquer the Saturnine karma, Saturn opens the door to Venus. So we can finally experience. For Venus is how we experience, how we experience this world. So Venus in Aquarius understands this experience component because Saturn here is truly in a different mind zone. to Saturn, yes, to Saturn being in Capricorn. That's a more earthy energy. Oh, yes, of course, I believe in soulmates. I've done a lot of work on soulmates and twin flames. Please check that out. I truly believe in it. I have some twin flame poetry as well. For those of you interested in my writing, I also write poetry. And a lot of that is love poetry, Pisces moon over there, opposition to Venus, applying exact 1 degree of opposition to Venus, and moon in the seventh house, Venus on the ascendant, exactly conjunct the ascendant. So I have this yeah, yeah, I know. I cannot stop making these videos, and I will never stop making these videos because the more my knowledge expands, and I actually have endless content to to give to the world. So there's no gonna be stopping this. So now we come to Venus in Pisces, that beautiful exalted Venus in Pisces. What could be the curse of Venus in Pisces? Being immersed in fantasy, in fairy tale worlds, expecting the impossible, hyper romanticism, all right? And being so caught up in the fantasy that you're unable to discern reality from fantasy. Exactly. Fantasy. Just staying so wrapped up in that world that you can't see what's in front of you. And sometimes it's good that you just need to tune off, and you just need to have a place of higher connect. But sometimes it can be so destructive. So destructive. So I mean, I love that Venus in Pisces, I love that Venus in Pisces. It's so soft, so musical, so otherworldly. Yes, true. Just fantasy play. The Jupiter is not a signifier of romance, signifier of childbirth, yes, Jupiter. But honestly, when we think about that Venus in Pisces, it's escapism. That's the curse of Venus in Pisces. I'm going to be licentious, or I'm going to, engage in stripping because I have this idea about how my relationship and this has happened, and I'm going to make him jealous. Could be Venus in Scorpio is known to make people jealous, but Venus in Pisces could plan that out very well and hurt themselves in the process just to make someone jealous. Or just get into this. There's a tremendously sexual component to Venus and Pisces, exalted Venus. So they have that and they are mutable. So they're always open and receptive and very sensual. Who are the most sensual signs with the most sensual Venus? Uh, I would say Pisces. It exalts there after all. Venus in Taurus, yeah, very central. Venus in Capricorn, very earthy. Venus in Virgo again, some of them are like repressed, unable to explore their sexuality. Venus in Virgo natives. So they feel like, sex is a sin, or lust is a sin. Lust is a sin. The word lust is so pejorative by itself. But we are all full of love. And if there was another name for the love, and that's a sexual feeling, that's a sexual vibe we have in the sacral chakra, in the Swatisthana chakra. So again, Venus's beach is Om Drang Dring Drong Sa Shukraya Namaha. Om Veeratvajaya Vidmahe Vignahastaya Dhimahe Tanno Shukra Prachodayat. This is the Gayatri for Venus, alright? Venus is really not only love, relationship, and all of that. Not only that, it is so much. And Venus colors are pink, white, and all these beautiful stuff. Okay, white and all that. Now, whoever, many of you want to know how to chant the beach. Now, Om Drang Dream Drum Sa Shukraya Namaha is to be chanted 6,000 times for Siddhi. Best, if you want to know about Mantra Diksha, the next lunation is on the 11th. I've got a lot of stuff happening right now. I've got work at home. I'm looking after an elderly person. I'm unable to, make the video reports because here I can just comment put on the live and chat. But when it comes to the lunation, I actually have to study and meditate and channel. So it takes me a really long time. So, I've just not had a moment to do that, right? The Vedic mantra. If the Vedic mantra I told you, Himakundra Mrinalabhang Daityanang Paramam Gurum Sharva Shastra Pravaktaram Bhargavang Pranamamyaham. Right? So that was about the curse of Venus and how Pygmalion, one of the greatest sculptors of ancient Greece, fell out of love with mortal women because he saw some prostitutes in the marketplace. These prostitutes were cross. They were, unrefined. They had all these, horrible skin, and they had the curse of Venus is also skin, by the way. So that Venus and Taurus could bring, of course, hormonal imbalance, but as well as skin diseases. The different kinds of skin diseases with Venus to the different sign. Pygmalion. If you've seen My Fair Lady, then My Fair Lady is when this man, he picks up some kind of some vagabond and trains her to be a socialite, and then she becomes this really beautiful socialite, and she like impresses everybody. That is the story of Pygmalion. That is how he finds a common woman and he transforms her. So men have used many of these patriarchal motifs. So Pygmalion was, of course, a misogynist in his own right, when he believed that he could love no mortal woman because of the coarseness and the unrefinement of these prostitutes. Um, yes. So just you wait, Henry Higgins. Yes. So it was almost as if he was scared of reality. He was scared of the feminine sexuality. So he saw prostitutes and he literally did not want to have anything to do with any other woman, like every other woman was going to be a prostitute. Okay, so that in itself is almost pissed me off. But to think that a man could be so put off by the prostitute, who we know is in prostitution being the oldest religion in the world, not religion, profession, profession in the world. But I mean, imagine a man, he sees some prostitutes and then he goes out and he starts creating a sculpture that he falls in love with. And the gods get so impressed with him and his hard work and dedication and all that. And God literally makes the statue come alive. So that's the story of Pygmalion. it's of course a patriarchal rendition. So I always found it rather strange. But when we got talking to these other women who are in the adult sex industry profession, so it was very interesting to explain to them the curse of Venus and how Venus operates through, whether you are an exalted Venus, your Venus in rulership, you're a powerful Venus, your Venus is an operational benefic. Even then, you will see that certain times the curse of Venus will come through. Why? Maybe because we are not doing the Saturnine lessons correctly. Remember, Venus and Saturn are very intricately interconnected. So, tomorrow I hope to come and tell you a lot about Saturn, Saturn's karma, and all of that. So, hope to see you tomorrow. And it was absolutely wonderful to have about 10 people at all times present, which is amazing because I don't announce anything, or I don't, put up any information about my lives. I just manage to come and do them randomly. Also, the other thing is my phone is overheating, and I'm soon going to have to buy a new phone. And I intend. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, so I thought like 10 people were there, but 17 people, wow. So I have to buy, yes, so I have to buy the Note 20 Ultra, which is quite expensive. So if any of you please want to donate, and of course I bought these really expensive Sennheiser headphones that I was going to use as a mic, but it kept going off at about 1 hour 20 minutes, and all my lives are like, I take a lot of time and I can't like have them go out, and it went out pretty much at 1 hour 5 minutes, actually not even 20 minutes. I just realized it's 1:27 right now, so it makes no sense for me to go for those Sennheisers. So I need and actually my laptop was not working last few days, so I had to postpone all my readings and got into all of that. So yeah, I don't want a cheap mic. I have a cheap mic, I have a cheap condenser mic. Not really very cheap, but pretty cheap, okay. But now I need to buy a proper condenser mic, like a proper Sennheiser mic or a proper mic, as well as I need the Note 20 Ultra. And it's gonna take my content, it's gonna make my content look really nice. And my phone is getting hot, so again I'll have to end the live because I can't I can't even touch my phone right now, it's so hot possibly. So it's getting really hot and I'm worried it's just going to shut down one day, and I don't want that to happen. But I have a lot of interesting things that I plan to do. I was gonna, make these beautiful, sexy, erotic astrology videos on OnlyFans and all that, and do some really amazing dating videos, some little bits of, like how to date each sign, and really interesting stuff I wanted to do, but all of that got completely foiled because the lockdown hit. COVID is really bad in India, and in this most critical stage I've got an elderly person that I'm taking care of. Not the elderly people in the shelter that I work with, but an elderly person in my house right now who has to be tended to all times, um, in diapers and all of that. So it's unbelievable. I've never r- looked after someone like this, and this is someone who's not close to me, but is a relative and has actually harmed me in some ways. But I'm still there trying to do the best I can. So it's a really complicated time for me, but I'm hoping for complete renewal. with the new moon in Kritika Nakshatra or tropical Taurus that is coming up. Yeah, yeah, but there's no deliveries now that are easy and cheap. Deliveries are so expensive because of Corona and COVID and all that. But yeah, it's been really crazy how things have been going on in my life, and I'm really sleeping, not sleeping, and not working on my content, not being able to write. I pretty much stopped writing on my blog. It is stressful. I have all my animals. I have all my animals that I have to look after. I have to feed animals in lockdown, on the road, and I've got an elderly person, and I've got my baby. It's literally like I don't have a moment to respite anymore. It's crazy. So anybody, whoever wants to help me procure my equipment or book a reading, I know, Luca, I know you'd surely help me. I know. But we are separated by great distance. All my YouTube friends and my subscribers in the small little YouTube family that I have created. Literally, this is the most precious moments of my life, and I could read. I just read your husband, and then it went off. I'll read your comments later. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, and I'm really excited to be here and make all this content. Remember, I you can still for a very nominal fee get your sun moon ascendant video done. I'm also doing special commission videos, so if you have yeah, absolutely, I love being on YouTube and doing my astrology videos. These are my most precious moments, for I intend to leave all of this that's in here and in here, and all the knowledge that I have, to give it out. Give it out. So yeah, oh, another announcement, that is 18th of Luca, my phone is really hot. I should literally turn it off right now after this live. So what I was gonna say is that 18th is Matangi Jayanti. Okay, and Matangi Jayanti, of course, one of the Mahavidyas is Matangi in Dasha Mahavidya, and 18th of May is Matangi Jayanti, and I am giving Diksha Shaktipat and working with her yantra and working with her mantras, taking a workshop. It starts from the 18th. 18th is the best day to receive your Diksha, and you can continue your practice. So everybody who wants to do a Matangi workshop, please email me. And on the 11th is Kritika Nakshatra activation. So Chishta Ganpati workshop people, please interested, that are interested and those that are already on my Chishta Ganpati workshop list, please get in touch with me. We are going to have a fresh bout of classes coming up really soon. All right. So, Virgo, stellium, cannot not work hard. All I seem to do is just work hard. I have not gone on a holiday for like, I don't know. It's too embarrassing to even say it out loud. So I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, I mean, it's literally crazy. All I tend to do is work, work, work. It's a song like that. Work. Just kidding. Anyway, I have to go now because I'm a bit paranoid right now. Oh yes. I'm a bit paranoid that my phone's gonna pull some shit on me, and I can't have my phone like mess up, because I do all my readings, all my videos, and everything. Oh yes, Luca, you and me are so gonna do that. Uh, So speak soon, because I honestly have to go and turn off my phone right now. But thank you to all my friends that support me. Thank you to all my clients. Thank you to all my students for taking the classes, for taking the readings, for all the donations. Thank you so, so much. And tomorrow, beautiful video on Saturn. All right. So take care and speak soon. Bye.